So that's the guts of a Delco radio for my Chevy Trailblazer. It's got all its covers off of it, and the front panel, of course. And this is my panel. Front panel with the basically. So my little project here is that the button was sticking for the band button on my radio, and of course now I couldn't. Happened when my kids were driving the car. Can't listen to my AM talk radio, so I had to bite the bullet and take it apart. And it was just this piece of junk behind the button that was causing the button from working. These things are. They have a piece of magnet that's inside the this rubber googie thingy. When you push down on it, it puts contact to the board and causes it to pulse. Kind of a clever thing. And so I replaced the bulbs, the blue thing there. I put that over it, but the other ones didn't work. Got these bulbs at Radio Shack. Not exactly a one-to-one replacement, but you know, it only cost me $12 in bulbs versus you know, whatever it is, $100 for the board from if you could even get it, 2005. You can't even get it. The newer, you know, they learn, and then they, you know, the newer radios, they've got a socket for the bulbs, so they can just replace them. But the 05s, the instrument cluster, they're all soldered into place. And they're these idiotic things. See if I could find one here. They just, you know, the little bulbs, they go through the board, you solder them into place. Can't seem to see one here. That's right there. It's a block, and they just stick right on the board. You just solder them on top of a pad, and they don't go through the board in a hole. So 3 of them do that, and then the rest of them actually go through the board. Very tiny holes. You think your solder sucker works for it, but it doesn't. I find one here, but I can't seem to find one. But at any rate, you know, it's just a tedious thing. I was up late doing that, playing around with that. So the other thing that's bad is my CD-ROM drive. It's $115 for the older one. So what I'd like to do is, this hole right here, this is for a cassette drive, which I don't have. What I'm probably going to do, this over here is the face, and I'd show you the front, but then that would mean, I guess I could probably lift it up and then show you the face. It's the face. And there's a spot right there where the cassette deck would go if it had that option. Of course, it'd be a different face. I'm going to drill a hole in the middle of that, and I'm going to feed out a USB socket right in that spot, and I'm going to mount it right there, hopefully, if my calculations are correct. And then that way I could so then I have this module here that I got. It's dual link. It's iSimple is the link. They have a website, but it's poor. You go on Amazon, or you go on a lot of places. If you do a search on iSimple, essentially right here you've got this here, and they send you the harnesses, the jumper harnesses that go in between your car radio, your stock one that comes with the Chevy, and the harnesses that are in the car. And when you're all done, you got a connector that looks like this. And this plugs into that point, and then what it does is it takes the band button on the front of the radio, and you can switch between, you know, FM1, 5 stations, FM2, 5 stations, AM radio, and then you have 2 aux ports, because these are 2 aux ports, port 1, port 2. And then there's also this USB port, and I'm hoping that I could take a USB plug, plug it in there, and then go to a standard plug on the front of my radio and be able to plug my phone in and get a charge feature while I can listen to music off my phone. Because the downside, these plugs actually convert down to a phono plug stereo left and right, which then you go to the miniature stereo plug, and then it would plug into your headphone jack on your phone or such device. And of course there are other purposes for all those pins depending on the cable. iSimple's website is not very helpful, but there are other connectors where you can have more control over I guess your device through, like I don't know, you know, when a feed tells you the information about the song. I have that RDS system on my radio where it tells you the song name and song description and stuff, and I guess that will feed through this plug to your device, and it would show up on your radio. So it's an interesting little thing. It's so they have different models for different cars. This one's for the GM. In particular, it's for the 2000, I think, to 2006, and then after that, the satellite radio came along, and it changed this device to communicate with radios that have satellite built into it. So that's my plan today, is to pick up. I have to actually get the plug. You can't get everything. I'm in the boonies in Pittsfield. You know, we have a Best Buy and a Staples and Radio Shack, and you think I could get all the cables I need at those places, but no. So I have to go from this mini to a female standard USB, which is a challenge, but I have to do it in 2 different cords, and it'll be nice if I could do that, because then I can plug my phone in and it will charge, and it will also play my music on my phone, versus otherwise I'm using up battery when I'm plugging in this into my phone through the phone jacks, which is just, for me, is kind of annoying. So that's my plan. I'm going to put this all back together and see how it looks, and if it looks good, I'll go pick up the part that I can to put into this radio, and then eventually it'll come in the mail from Amazon, the other plug that's going to plug into the back of this, into the cord that I'm going to use. And it's all waiting games, waiting for parts for my laptop. I'm waiting for parts and I can order a replacement CD player. There's one guy that sells it for $115, but you know, it's $115. So now I guess I could go out and buy a replacement deck and put that in the car, but well, I don't know, this one tends to communicate with the car in some ways, and I'm not quite fathoming why. And then plus it's always better to have it in there, I don't know. So I could bite the bullet and go out and buy a kit and put a radio in there and Pioneer or something. But I don't know. There's some reason to keep this radio in the car. It communicates with the CPU for one thing, and I don't know if that's important. I do know that you can't swap radios. I can't buy another radio off of eBay and just put it in and have it work. Now, if I got a Pioneer, I could. But I can't buy another Delco radio, because this radio is actually matched to my VIN number. It's just interesting. And considering what you have to do to pull the radio out, it doesn't come out in a heartbeat. You got to pull the whole cowling off of the dashboard. I mean, it's an ordeal. So it's not like it's easy to steal the radio. I guess if you're destroying it and you don't care, like if you're a thief, you're not going to care what you do to the car. So I guess in that respect, it's easy to get it out. So it is a theft deterrent. But that's what it is. So I don't know if I give you a quickie on this radio here. You know, that's the main board, communication board, port. Bottom of it is where my daughter has this rap music CD stuck in it, and I can't see how I can get it out easily. If I had my choice, I'd put Mamma Mia in it, the soundtrack to Mamma Mia, and then I could sing that song. But it's yeah, it's interesting because it's mounted on a suspension. Probably can't see that, but it's mounted on springs. Yeah, there it is. See how it moves. So when you're driving down the street going over potholes, that's why your CD-ROM isn't jumping and skipping. It's because it's absorbing that impact. And it's just interesting that it's planned in that way. Ta-ta for now.